So I've been to several concerts. My first concert was Metallica. When I was 15, my dad took me to see Metallica. And Lamb of God opened for Metallica, and Gojira opened for Lamb of God. And I've always loved like heavy music, rock music. This was in like an arena, so it was awesome. It was so loud. My buddy Paul was there, and you know, it was just like kind of game on after that. You know, I was like, dude, I gotta go to another concert, right? So it's funny because I've seen Lamb of God probably like 5 times, like 4 times on accident. Like they used to do like the Mayhem Fest, or I don't think they did X Fest, but there used to be a venue called, or like what do you call it? Like they did a show called Mayhem Fest. This was years ago. Like we're talking like 10 years ago and stuff. And you know, there's one time I went with some buddies out of school, and it wasn't that memorable, other than like that was like weed smoking days, and you know, we were sneaking in blunts and doing that whole thing. But this one time with my best friend, he's never been to a concert, and we're like 20, you know, 21 maybe, don't exactly remember because it was a while ago, and you know, smoked a lot of weed. So you know, I sneak like probably like 6 joints, and you know, he had some, and you know, we didn't really have a plan. We just like, it was like me, him, and 2 other buddies, I think. And so we go to the show, and before the show they used to have like the lawn open where you could socialize and drink before the show. And now they don't do that. Now you just like go in and go to the show at like 6 o'clock, but you could be there at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something, and like hang out with a bunch of people. And so me and my best friend and, you know, 2 of our other friends were all like hanging out, and we weren't getting like too crazy or anything yet. What happened is he ran into somebody that he knew, and so when he ran into these guys, you know, he was like, oh wow, that's, you know, it's crazy, you know, that you're here. And we're all like hanging out, and then the show started, and I couldn't keep up with them. Like there was just so many people that we got separated. And it was like Lamb of God and Korn and Rob Zombie, I think, might have been there. I don't know. 5 Finger Death Punch. It was a great show. But nonetheless, I lost the one person that I went to the show with. I mean, I know he was okay because he was with people, but I didn't know them, so I couldn't get a hold of him. You know, this is before, you know, we had good cell phones and all that. I'm screaming all day like, Jason, where are you? You know, going, and I'm getting high fives. You know, I love getting high fives, and I wasn't going to let that stop me. And I think that's probably why we got separated, because my goal at this show with my friends was to get as many high fives as humanly possible. And so I'm stacking them up. You know, I'm at that pre-show getting high fives after high fives. You know, this is before everybody was all weird about, you know, touching people and stuff, so it really didn't bother me. My hand is on fire by 6 o'clock when the show starts, but I didn't stop. I'm going around, I'm getting high fives, but I'm looking for my friend. And so at some point I had to stop looking for him and just enjoy the show. I'm like, you know what? We came here to enjoy the show. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I smoked my weed, you know, hung out with my friends, and I kept walking around looking for the guy. I wasn't going to give up. You know, any chance I got, I'd go to like concession stands, you know, go to like the spot at the top. I walked everywhere, and I'm getting high fives the whole time. I got over 500 high fives that day, and it was incredible. But you know, when you're in a lot of pain and you're stressed and it's a long day, you get emotional. And at this point, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. They stop doing bands at like 11. So about, I don't know, like 10:30, we're checking out. I want to be at the gate because there's only like 2 places you can leave, and I'm like 50-50. I bet he'll be here. And so after that whole day, I find him, and it was glorious, and everything was okay. And I know this is before we could drink. Like, I know this is before we could, otherwise it would have been game over. It just, but nobody would have found anybody. So I find my friend, and it's all good. And I'm telling him, dude, I got so many high fives today, but I lost you, and you weren't there. Did you have a good time? He's like, dude, that was the best concert ever. I was looking for you too, and I was worried, but I was like, I know, man, but we found each other, and it was all good. And I wish that we could have stuck together, but I think like for him to have had his first real concert experience, he needed to do that. He said that he ran into some other friends that he knew, and they were all getting high, so it wasn't a bad time or anything. I'm like, good, we all had a good time, and it was all good. And then years later, me and him, only me and him went, and I think we could drink at that point. We're just chilling. It was a great time. My best friend, he's gone to like 3 shows with me, because there's another time we went to Lexington to another indoor arena. It was Slipknot, Korn, and King 810. And we get there, and my buddies are kind of drinking, and like I'm driving. We drove like 3 hours to go see the show, and it was awesome. Like, the indoor shows compared to the outdoor shows, it's a different vibe. But you can't walk around. You can't get as many high fives, and they're giving me a hard time. Like, don't be wandering off, Alex. Don't be like, and I'm like, man, I drove, I'll do what I want. And it was awesome. When we were going to leave, there's like some people asking for money and stuff like outside the show, because there's so many people. It's a good trap, get people walking out, ask for money and stuff. My buddy goes to give this guy $2, and we get to the car, and he goes, dude, I lost $20. And I look at him, I go, no, dude, I watched you give a guy $21. Because he saw me give him I gave him like a couple bucks, and he wanted to one up me, and he did. He ended up giving him, $20, $21, $22. And on the way back that night, I'm riding the left lane, all 3 of my other friends in the car, and I'm going like 80 because it's a long way home, and we all got stuff to do the next day, and I get pulled over, and I can't remember. I think I got a ticket, but it wasn't too bad. It was really embarrassing because we all kind of did have a couple drinks, and we all we had smoked, and I'm worried. I'm like, man, but we all got home, and it was all good, and fuck the police. It's a good time. You go to those shows, you got to watch out for the yellow vests, or people sneak around and stuff. So you got to be real low key about what you're doing. Keep it to yourself. I remember there was a moment when I was like looking for my friend, and Korn was playing, and I'm going crazy. Like, Korn's one of my favorite bands, and this girl comes out of nowhere and like danced with me for a minute, like jumping up in the air, gives me a crazy high five, and just runs off to the crowd. And like, part of me was like, man, I wish I could have heard what her name was. I have no idea who that person was, but there was just so much hype and so much awesome stuff that going to a concert offers. It's such a release. It's just for us to like have that as friends, and to do that. I took myself to a show. I went to see Slipknot last year by myself, and I don't regret it. I didn't get any high fives. I really just wanted to go and chill, and like, I went hard, and I think a couple of people like saw me going hard, and they're like, you know, dancing around with me and stuff. This guy's there was a cop in front of me, but yeah. So I mean, that was a good show too. I've seen Slipknot 4 or 5 times. I've seen Korn 4 or 5 times. I've seen Lamb of God 4 or 5 times. So, you know, like to diversify your music taste. But I really love heavy music, and I love heavy music shows. So, yeah, it was awesome. You know, I totally recommend going to a concert, but try not to lose your friends because, you know, if you're responsible for them, if you're driving like I was, you know, I took it so personally, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean, you know, and we still talk about it. We're at 31, and we still talk about, you know, how crazy those times were and stuff, and, you know, I just think, you know, everybody's got to experience something like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a concert. Like, you know, the cosplay shows and stuff can be kind of fun. I don't know, like those, you know, that much, unless you're like, you know, you're drinking and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I try not to, like, you know, get fucked up and drive, because that's not cool. But there's one time a girl broke up with me, and I'm with all my another group of friends, and I'm fucking tore up because, you know, I don't have to drive. And that was another Korn show, and I had my Peyton Manning jersey on, and I'm throwing up, and everybody's cheering me on. Come on, man, get it out. Like, it's going to be okay. And it was. But by the time I got to the car and I passed out, you know, very rarely am I not the one driving. So, yeah, a few times, you know, I've gone into it. I've gone hard. Yeah, shows are great. Concerts are great. Just try not to lose your friends because, you know, you got to get them home safe. All right. If you listen to this, have a good day. And, I look forward to going to more shows, maybe, you know, here soon. Man, I can't believe summer's almost over already. I haven't done anything. Yeah, peace.